Good morning, good people. Today is Monday, September 2nd, 2024. Bonk. And we are here. Okay, edit, cut. Okay, today is Monday, September 2nd, 2024. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. Here we are at Career Services, Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help you through this transcendent life, meaning we have a transcendent soul. This life is the journey. It is not the destination. Good morning, Wadabevik. Congratulations. Anxious to hear more about that. What time are you going in for your onboarding? And when are you getting your mullet? Good morning, Mr. Bojangles. I don't in. Do you out? Okay. We don't know. All right. Well, it looks promising. So anyway, here we are. Our goal is to help you through this life, this journey towards a destination of your choosing. Or you could be like other people. Well, it's just the journey. I'm just going to drive from here to there or sail from here to there and just see what it brings. And then you find out, oh, wow, when my ship is out of supplies, the ship is done, it won't go any further. Maybe I'm at sea, no land in sight. When the end comes, maybe I've arrived at just some place that's good enough. Because I just didn't know, I didn't read the signs to say there's a destination, and if I get there, it's even better than the journey. Right. There's a place that's even better than the journey. Okay, so our meme for today, who owes you what? Darren Hardy, down below in the worksheet, down below. Well, this is what, Labor Day? Is this Labor Day or Memorial Day? I keep getting these two confused. What is the day and what do we have going? What can we do to get more people? What's on your agenda, Bo? Have anything going with the landscaping, etc.? Okay. Will Maticus von Atticus join us? Will the repetition kick in? Labor Day, yes. Okay. Let's see. This is also day 1 of week 4 of our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. What does that mean? That means this week we're talking about leadership. And we start with Nancy Kane talking about crisis leadership. So what is leadership? Leadership is a polite word for power. What is power? Power is getting other people to do what you want. That's the unvarnished definition. Unfortunately, we put value judgments on that word power. So we don't like to say power. So we say, if it comes to business, it's called management. But what do managers do? They get people to do what they want. In the military, it's called leadership. It's called leadership. What do leaders do? They get people to do what they want. So the actual term is power, getting other people to do what you want. But that would be kind of stupid to call this week Power Week, getting power. So we call it leadership. And leadership is on a spectrum. On one end, you have crisis leadership. Everything is going to hell all the time. And on the other end, you have pure leadership. Everything is wonderful, beautiful, etc. And then in the middle, you have practical leadership. So this week we're focusing on this spectrum, and we're starting with crisis leadership. We started with crisis leadership. Professor Nancy Kane from Harvard, who's been a big supporter of our school since probably 2014, for about 10 years, giving us hundreds of books of her book, Crisis Leadership. Well, that's not the title of the book. Doesn't matter. Her video is down below today. And this is when everything's going wrong. What do? She uses two people as examples, Abraham Lincoln and Ernest Shackleton. And she talks about how they performed in times of crisis and the lessons learned from that. About 10 very powerful lessons. Great video to watch. On the other end of the spectrum, tomorrow we're going to get pure leadership, and that's going to be Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, the richest man in the world, who could have anything he wanted, and he wasn't corrupted by the things he could have. Why? Because he was a Christian? No, he wasn't a Christian, even though he was in the 2nd century AD. Correct. Mr. Bojangles got it right. Correct. Stoicism. He was a Stoic philosopher. And so we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Then the rest of the week, we focus on practical leadership and Stoicism. Practical leadership is through Ignatius of Loyola, who was a guy after our own heart. Okay, Maticus von Atticus reporting for duty. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Okay, what's everybody doing that's interesting today? While you do that, I'm going to pull open the worksheet. I'm going to get some advice from an 80-year-old. Advice from an 80-year-old. Where'd it go? All right, who stole the advice from an 80-year-old? Remember, no one makes it alone. Have a grateful heart and be quick to acknowledge those who helped you. Right, that fits in perfectly with week 3 and week 4. It's very easy to say, I don't need anybody. Wrong answer. You do. Can't get very far in life without the help of other people. Even, for example, if you got a solid gold ingot and you wanted to, worth, I don't know, $250,000. I don't know what it's worth today, but it's worth a lot. $1.5 million, 25 pounds of gold. You get this ingot, and what can you do with it? You could bring it into a store and they could say, well, we only take money, that's gold. You can have a little scale. Well, I'll file off $1 worth so I can have a banana. They'd say, no, sorry. It would be very hard. Other people might say, no, I think you stole it. I don't think it's real. You have a very tough time. If you had a gold ingot, you're on a deserted island, what good would it do you? Well, in itself, as gold, nothing. It's just a heavy piece of shiny metal. However, you could turn it into tools, bowls, maybe a mirror of sorts to reflect the sun in case a ship comes by. There could be things like that you could do with it. But as gold, it doesn't have much value. So advice from an 80-year-old, remember, no one makes it alone. Have a grateful heart and be quick to acknowledge who helped you. Darren Hardy, red letter to our theme today. Who owes you what? His answer is no one owes you nothing. You're owed nothing by no one. Pasta dinner. Right. So I've got to check to see if I'm going to the NAN meeting today or if they're making it next week, because today is a holiday. This might be a big day down there, but I have to go because I haven't been able to go for the last 2 months. And NAN is important to our well-being. I wonder if I could take somebody with me. Because it's a long and windy road. Okay, so our theme of today, no one owes you nothing. Now, that's kind of interesting, because if you're a Christian, what does God owe you? God has a plan, and he's playing Marco Polo with me. He won't lay it out. I got to figure it out for myself, and every time I think I got it, and I say, Marco, and I swim to, he says, Polo. I swim over there, and he's not there. And I just have to be faster at finding him than he is changing. So that's the standard Christian model. God has a plan, but he doesn't tell you the plan. You have free will to not do the plan, but God is going to get what he wants anyway, because he's omnipotent and omnipresent, etc. God owes us nada. Right. So I would say God cares as much about us individually as you do an ant walking across your floor, or one ant in a anthill, one of those little ant farms. You like to observe them. It would be kind of cool to experience what it was like being an ant, right? If you could hyper vicariously experience what it was like to be an ant, but you were safe because you weren't the ant, you're just hyper vicariously experiencing what the ant experiences. And so you give the gift of life to the ant. The ant can do whatever it wants with that gift. You would hope that it would honor the gift and reciprocate. And if you laid out there, well, if you do what I tell you to do, you're going to end up with me. You're going to be over here. You're going to be one with the creators. You're going to be one with the creators. If you do what I say, people have free will to do it or not do it. But no one owes you nothing. So the 3 stages of life are: you start out totally dependent. Then when you become like a teenager, you want to be totally independent. And most people carry that through much of their life, perhaps finding out too late that the goal is to become interdependent. We're dependent upon each other. And the more we help each other, the better it is. A rising tide lifts all boats. I don't need to compete with you. If the tide is coming in and it's going up, all boats are going to be lifted. I don't need to compete with you for the water. Lifts all boats. God owes us nada. Interesting. Okay, so you have this gift of life. Ideally, you would want to honor the gift. I give you a bicycle as a gift, not an investment, not an exchange for a bargain, not as a loan. It's just a gift. You can do with it whatever you want. You can leave it outside and have it stolen. You could leave it outside and have it get ruined by the weather. So it's just, rust, whatever. Or you can honor it by writing it, taking care of it. And that would probably give pleasure to the gift giver, right? They gave you a gift and you use the gift repeatedly. That's like me and the Peloton, right? Every day. Haven't missed a day since Christmas. Some days have been short, like 5 minutes. And I am continually amazed at this gift. How gracious is God? Well, so I think if you consider your life a gift, I think in the Copernican revolution, our being alive is the natural consequence of physical forces and evolution. If our planet had been hit by an asteroid, or if it had not been hit by an asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation now. If Julius Caesar were not assassinated, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation now. That's so cool. So, what are you owed by who? Darren Hardy says, nobody owes you nothing. We have the opportunity, we have the responsibility to get the things that we need. And I would say Maticus von Atticus is pretty good at that. He's a pretty good example. Now, he's got a little benefit that few of us have, which is he knows he's going to get a check every month for the rest of his life. On the other hand, that's kind of a burden. It's like Charlene, Des Moines 2032. It just doesn't matter. She gets a check every month for about $1,000, and you start framing your life around that. So she won't take jobs for fear of losing that. My hunch is Maticus von Atticus won't either. And so your ability to experience things gets diminished unless you're like Maticus von Atticus and you actually save money. So if you want to go on a trip to Egypt and ride a camel around the pyramids, you can. Unfortunately, you probably won't, because you'll think of the great hit you will have taken to your savings. And you'll say, well, I don't really need to ride a camel around the pyramids. So we change our life based upon that. But the good news is you don't have to worry, right? You've got this safety net underneath you. And so that's good. Nobody owes you nothing. Well, I guess that's not really true, because the government owes people like Matt their check every month. And I think they have a right to say, you owe me. I guess that would extend to everybody on Social Security, which I could be on, but I'm not, because for some reason I'm waiting till the maximum age. However, well, that's a different story. We're at 18 minutes in. Time to go, people. Make sure you have a big, good day. Wada Bevy, text me when you know your schedule for going in for your onboarding. Okay. Bo, how about text me your schedule, your plans for today? And Maticus von Atticus, ditto for you too. Right, Mark?